no go so suffer. 90% of what suffer talking about something are rubbish.
ASAFA is talking about a support system that will make sure that the athletes...
Yeah, but hold on, Leighton, because we've admitted that we're not talking about the Usain Bolt.
This heated debate won't die. It is far from over. The question is the timing right? You know what? Let's jet into this story. Welcome to Jet. So first and foremost, before we get into what Glenn Mills revealed and exposed in this heated debate, give thanks to Yahweh and to Yahushua. Yes, man. So recently, ASAFA Powell came out and made a controversial statement. By the way, big up yourself, ASAFA. Big up yourself, Maverick. Big up yourself, Dr. Greg. Big up yourself, Sports Max. And big up yourself, The Angles with Deion Jackson. I'm not going to evaluate the debates at this present time. If you want Jet to evaluate the debates, the many different angles of the debates, just write in the comment section, Jet, go for the debate. Okay? What I'm going to do is to more focus on what the great Glenn Mills had to say about the issue and what he exposed to be a little bit too late. And Jet will be reacting to the Angles interview with Deion Jackson speaking to Glenn Mills. But before we get to that, ASAFA Powell came out and made a controversial statement saying that his kids, if the system doesn't change, his children would not run for Jamaica. And it sparked a heated debate on social media with emotions and facts and everything are running wild. And it is not dying out, it is continuing. And Mr. Mills weighed in on his version of the events and his interpretation of the events. But just to remind you of what ASAFA said that sparked this heated debate, it is important that we look back and watch it and draw our own conclusion based on what he actually says. Watch this.
But honestly, guys, if the support system don't change, my kid's not running for Jamaica. Not running for Jamaica.
So ASAFA is saying that if him children them not get the financial support they need, them not gonna run for Jamaica, because he believes that athletes are not being treated well and the system can do more, and he would be strongly and definitely be the voice for the voiceless, if you like. He is speaking out in defense of athletes who have to run for free without getting any paid and not being recognized, or they probably end up not having anything after going through all of that work, and there is no financial benefit to them after their career is over. So he decided to speak up and in total defense of the athletes. Yeah, man, I defend them money. This is what I say. And here ASAFA Powell go by dropping the bombshell as he went on to say this.
I remember back in 2006, I was offered millions of US dollars to run for another country. And at the time, I turned it down because I didn't know, it was very early, so I didn't know what the future hold. If I knew what I know now, I would have taken up that opportunity. You know what I mean? So I love my country and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's business, it's my life, it's my future. If we don't have support, money makes the world go round.
Yes, ASAFA, many people will agree with you that money makes the world go round, but people, pay attention to this video coming up and tell me if you spot the difference. This video is very interesting. Listen to this video very carefully and tell me if you can spot the difference and see if you would be able to work out what is going on here. Watch this.
I could have gone to the Olympics with other countries. I was offered two accreditation, full accreditation, full funding, everything. But I could never see myself wearing another country.
Now, this was a video my colleague did some time ago where I featured Glenn Mills and his is dissatisfaction with the J3A and the JOA, and he was voicing his opinion. Yes, man, Mr. Mills, whether talk up the thing, him man that talk up the thing. So Mr. Mills made a similar statement. But before we get into this evaluation as to comparing the two statements between Mr. Mills and ASAFA Powell, if you have gotten this far, it means that you have a good attention span. It also means that you may have done well in school as well, because you're paying attention. And share, man, share the video, man, share if you care. And would you be kind enough to just smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, touch up the bell before we continue. And if you've done so, well done. Do the right thing. So Mr. Mills made a similar statement to ASAFA Powell, but there's a difference, and I'll explain the difference at the closer to the end of the video. But before we get there, it is important now to turn to the angles to which Mr. Mills explain where ASAFA Powell has gone wrong by exposing something very chronological in his approach to this support that he believed so passionately about that athletes should get, and they are not getting it from the governing body or from the government of Jamaica. Watch this.
Athletes who qualify are able to apply for some kind of grant or help. You must have a system of criterias, because there's a whole lot of people training. The majority of who are not going to make it at the international level. The question, however, Dion, is how should that be done and who is responsible? Because it's not going to happen automatically. And so I think that the governing bodies between the J3, the JOA, and to an extent from the government SDF would need to come together to create some kind of avenue for this to be done.
So Mr. Mills does not disagree with ASAFA Powell that there should be some sort of funding by the governing authority, including government chipping in every now and again and try and support the athletes. Where we disagree with Mr. Powell is the timing of his controversial statement. He definitely disagrees that the timing was wrong, and he had plenty of opportunity where he could have made his voice heard, and this definitely is one of the reasons why this debate is not going away, because people are looking at it from many different angles, and people are not only just looking at it factually but emotionally as well. So this is what Mr. Mills had to say about the timing of ASAFA Powell's statement and why he believes that this should have been done a long time. Watch this.
Hear him, and I just heard what he's been saying. I think that it's a bit harsh. I would think that maybe he could have made more impact while he was running to put forward that kind of the view that we need, the athletes need support, etc. and so on. I don't think coming at the end of his career like that, it is going to be interpreted differently.
Yes, so Mr. Mills said the timing is off. But what are the facts? I mean, the Australian Institute of Sport have a system where they do direct funding to support athletes. It is called DAIS. The United Kingdom have the national lottery funding to elite athletes. They can receive up to $36,000 annually tax-free. The Canadian system, the Athletes Assistance Program, which is known as the carding, support top athletes from say 1,500 to about 1,800 Canadian dollars. The German system have a military system. If you're a military police or army people and you run as an athlete, then you get full salary as a benefit while you're competing and training. And the American system got a sort of sponsorship system similar to Jamaica, and you've got the university system as a scholarship of the NCAA. So not a lot of country give their athletes money, as it were, and Jamaica is not unique. Jet agrees and support the position of Mr. Mills and ASAFA Powell that athletes should be given more funding, because especially if they put on the national colours and run for the country, or a position they would come once they represent the country, they should be given more funding. But how about ASAFA? And Jet already advocated this. How about ASAFA putting his money where his mouth is? Now people, tell me, would you support this move? Tell me if you agree with Jet. If ASAFA come out on national television or on his program and say, I am willing to put up the first $1 million, and I'm calling all the top athletes in my position to match this or double this as a kind of private fund, a private trust for athletes to help them. I've been in the system, I struggle through the system, and I'm here to lend a helping hand, not just talking but taking action to support the athletes. Trust me, more Jamaican will love ASAFA. In fact, they'll make 5 statues for ASAFA, because he did not only just talk the talk, but him walk the walk, or in some case run the run, pun intended. But he need to lead by example by making these pledges, and you would definitely see that ASAFA Powell will be talked about in so much positive light, more than how he's talked about in positive light. Do you agree with that? So this debate will rumble on, I believe, for another few more weeks, because emotions are running high. That's why you see the Maverick, Dr. Harton and Sportsmax are running with such heated reply and explanation for and against in this debate. And this debate is not dying out soon.
No go so SAFA. 90% of what SAFA talking about something are rubbish.
ASAFA is talking about a support system that will make sure that the athletes...
Yeah, but hold on, Leighton, because we've admitted that we're not talking about the Usain Bolt.
Now let's see who was paying attention. Yeah, man. I look on the thing and I work out the thing for themselves and see if they can figure out what going. Yeah, so who was paying attention to Mr. Mills' speech prior to ASAFA Powell's speech? And then you can tell me the difference. I'm going to reveal the difference, but I'm not going to say anything more than that. Watch this.
I've gone to the Olympics with other countries.
I was offered two accreditation, full accreditation, full funding, everything. But I could never see myself wearing another country.
I remember back in 2006, I was offered millions of US dollars to run for another country. And at the time, I turned it down because I didn't know, it was very early, so I didn't know what the future hold. If I knew what I know now, I would have taken up that opportunity.
Now here it comes, the difference. The difference is Mr. Mills say he was offered funding to coach and get accreditation for another country, while ASAFA Powell was offered money, and Mr. Mills said he could not see himself running for another country, while ASAFA Powell said he should have taken up that offer. That is the difference between Mills' approach and ASAFA Powell's approach. Cast no judgment on either of them, but I'm just evaluating as the name Jet suggests. So what is your view? Do you believe that this debate is going to rumble on for a long time, because you can see that it won't die out, and Mills exposed the timing behind ASAFA Powell's controversy? And do you see the bitter battle between Dr. Greg and Oral Maverick Tracy? Yes, man, I mean friendly battle though. No, it's just opinions and debate and war of words. Or do you see the difference that ASAFA Powell appears as if he would go after the money rather than the national colour, in contrast to Mr. Mills' position? Write your comments below, man, and let's have a discussion about this. For those of you who've forgotten to subscribe, please remember to touch the like button, smash the subscribe button, touch up the bell, and remember to share with your friends and family. So here we go now. We are going to jet off,